Welcome back to the Witch's Way podcast. I'm Kat.
And I'm Jayme, and tonight's magical topic is all about harnessing the power of Litha. And so Litha is also known as the Midsummer, the Summer Solstice, whatever you want to call it. It's the height of the sun. It's the longest day of the year as far as the sun being out, so it's the shortest night. The opposite would be Yule, the holiday Yule, where it's the longest night and the shortest day. But yes, summer solstice.
I love summer. I love summer solstice.
Summer solstice. I love the
sun.
Whole
vibe of everything makes me so, everything is alive and warm. It's warm.
Yeah.
And it's just like such
beautiful.
It's just such a special time of the year.
Yeah.
That we only get like once. And then it's gone. And so then even the short night, I'm okay with the short night because you think it's probably.
No, this is the short night. You mean the long night?
No. Is it? Oh, you're a short night.
A short night.
Yeah,
the
short
you were talking about this.
Yeah, because the sun's probably get dark at like close to 9 o'clock, right?
It does, and the sun is up. I mean, we have sunshine by 6, 10.
So then you can sit out. You can still sit outside and start a little bonfire. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's magical. It's just really magical this time of year. And even no matter if you just like sit outside, go outside, for the sunset or just star watching with a glass of wine in your garden or.
It's all magical and everything's alive. There's so much that's just going on during this time. It's like the world is really, all the creatures are ready to go, Yeah.
Lots of stuff happening.
So today we're lighting the fires and diving into the midsummer mystery of Litha. And whether you're basking barefoot in the backyard or stirring herbs under the silver moonlight, because we're going to talk about how this Litha lines up with new moon. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't really be with moonlight. It would be lack of moonlight. So it'd be like starlight. Should have wrote that better.
Yeah.
We're here to help you harness the power of the summer solstice. I think that's when I think about the summer solstice, I definitely think about it in terms of power because the sun is like the masculine power energy, like shining over things, helping things grow. I mean, it doesn't do it all by itself, of course, but it's just this it's this very strong presence, which is summer. Yeah. So I think first it's important to talk about where did this start? The ancestors who might have celebrated things like this. Remember that the wheel of the year in these 8 witches holidays that we talk about, this was all put together by Gerald Gardner, who also had influences from other people. But this sort of just really got it started maybe 60, 70 years ago. It's so weird to say that because it's like the 50s. And so that feels like 50 years ago to me, but it's 2025. So I have to add another 25 years onto that.
Yeah, because it's more like the 40s, right?
Yeah, 40s, 50s. Yeah, I mean, he was 40s. Studying before that, but it gained popularity definitely in the 50s, which is just these 8 holidays that are put together from several different cultures. But they wanted to, I think his whole goal in this, which is why I really appreciate it, is that it's just bringing back these points throughout our year where we can stop and go, oh, let me just appreciate this season for what it is. Instead of just having the 4, we more have like 8, and we take these little breaks and pauses for these smaller shifts. It's not always like just the big ones of spring, summer, fall, and winter. It's like we sort of have the in-between ones. But Litha would definitely be the summer. This is like the start of summer. We had Beltane back on May 1st. That is like, the middle of spring, and I love Beltane too because it's also very fiery. So lots of fire energy, lots of heat, sun, all the good things.
And fire is action, so it's time to get moving and get going.
That's why summer you're always out and about. Transformation. Yes.
So if that's what you're going through in your life, this is a good time for that.
It aligns. Yeah,
it aligns with that.
So the solstice is definitely an astronomical thing, not astrological, astronomical. Like it happens in the sky. This is something where you can count it, when it's going to happen. Like NASA puts it out, the Farmer's Almanac. This is a date not based just on tradition or a belief system. This is something that actually happens in the sky. We know that the Earth's tilt is furthest towards the sun on this day. That's why we get the longest day of the year. So it is science also, which I mean, how can you not love that?
Witch over
it's
here.
Spiritual and it's science. Like that's the perfect marriage for me. I love it. Being that it's the longest day, meaning the most sunlight hours for the Northern Hemisphere, this always falls between June 20th or 22nd. So if you're like me, I try not to pinpoint like things to happen on just a day. Like I don't have a birthday. I have a birth month. And so all during that month I celebrate
like November. That's it.
Like that's
my month.
I don't like to give it all just a day. It makes it so finite. And like there's so much pressure to get things done on one day. So I really start thinking about the summer solstice, probably like the 18th, 19th. I mean, I'm thinking about it right now, actually. It's already June.
It feels like it's around the corner. So you could be like, we're in the shadow, the pre-shadow.
Yeah. The pre-umbral. That's what they call it when you've got when the words come to me. Words. Where are the words?
I don't know. Pre-umbral. Is that what you said?
Pre-umbral. Yeah. For fucking hell. Eclipses.
Eclipses.
Yes.
Okay.
Pre-umbral. Yes, is when you're in the pre-stages before like the moon actually goes into shadow. It's pre-umbral. But that it doesn't even relate. You just made me think of that because you're like in the shadow part of it.
Well, because I was thinking about how when the planets go into retrograde, there's like a day that it's like, okay, today's officially the day that Venus is in retrograde or Mercury is in retrograde. But actually, if you study it, you know that there's this like long period that there's a build up to it. There's a build up, and you can look at it on a chart. You can look at it on a chart and see that it starts like weeks ahead of time and builds up to the point where it's finally, this is it. And then it's like this long period. So the chart goes like this and then straight across and like this. And that's what I was referencing when I was like the shadow, because they call that like the shadow. You're not retrograde yet, but you're in the shadow of it, either in the front end or the back end.
It's like the beginning of it. It's the days before the party where you're like frantically.
So we are in the days before the party, and we are celebrating with spring water.
Oh, sun water. Yes. Just good old Florida water.
Pure, bottled water, because water here in Florida is gross. To drink.
Spring water.
Off track.
You got me so off track, and I'm like,
so sorry. Okay, she's lost. Okay, so we were talking about when it falls, June 22nd, June 20th to 22nd.
Yes. And so to think about that, this was like a sacred time for people, because this was something that they could really see coming. Like Beltane is a knowing of in between the seasons, right? You're sort of counting the days in between the actual events. But this is something that they knew. They were like, this is the day the sun is the longest. It's out forever. And solstice actually means the sun stands still, because at that noon, 11 o'clock to the noon, 1 o'clock time frame, it just feels like the sun is up in the sky in the same point forever. Like that's the perception of it. If you were to be out and you're like, my shadow is not moving.
Yeah. Well, do you have a shadow right now, though? Would you have a shadow on that day?
Yeah. When it's high noon, it would be directly overhead of you.
Yeah. Like, so you wouldn't have much of a shadow.
It'd be under your body.
Yeah. So like that's the interesting thing. Yeah. I think we did an experiment or something when we had the shortest day.
Yeah.
And I went out and took a picture of
your long shadow.
My long shadow. Yeah. So I'll have to repeat that with no shadow.
With no shadow.
Yeah.
Because it's at noon. You got to take it at the same time, but then that sort of alerts you to where the sun is in the sky. Yeah. But this was when the sun was at its most powerful, and ancestors saw this as a time of passion, ripeness. This is like kind of how we think of the full moon and everything coming to manifestation. So this is a ripeness, and also a time of like promise, because this is definitely a precipice where we're reaching a peak. There's always the balance, you guys. Remember that. We're reaching the peak of the longest day. So what happens after the longest day?
Oh,
it starts getting shorter days.
We're going towards the shortest day.
Yeah, we're starting
every day. We're losing a little bit of sunlight.
About a minute of daylight as we start.
All of a sudden, notice like, wow, it's dark really early.
Yeah, we head towards the equinox. Well, and we have time changes, which make it more ridiculous. But we start heading towards the equinox, but then it will be equal day and light, or night and day, and then we'll head towards the long night at Yule, where it'll be a very, very short sunny day. Very short. Yeah.
Well, so many cultures celebrated Litha. The Celts lit bonfires on hilltops to bless the land and the crops. The Norse honored Baldur, the beloved sun god. And Romans celebrated Vestula. Yeah. So did I say that right? No.
Yeah.
Vestula?
Open for interpretation.
Okay. Vestula, a fire festival for the hearth.
Which they still do.
Goddess Vesta.
Yeah, they still have holidays or festivities around that. Like Yeah. I think in Italy and stuff. So
it was believed that the veil between the worlds thinned, making this a potent time for connecting with the fae and natural spirits. And I could see that in the summer. I mean, you get out there in the fairy garden.
Everything's so alive.
Yeah,
you know, you almost feel like you start to see things flying around when you're out there that are not just our beloved winged creatures like bees and bugs and butterflies. Yeah. So if you've ever seen A Midsummer's Night Dream, this is, you know, like way before I realized I was a witch in like 6th and 7th grade, and you got to watch the movie. I fell in love with the fantasy of that because it's so pagan, right? A Midsummer's Night Dream. They've got like sort of the pan guy and like just there's so much reference towards pagan culture in that movie. And it reminds me of both Beltane and actual Midsummer because they kind of run off and sleep with different creatures, and that was like a Beltane thing to do, is like run off into the woods, and whoever you sleep with, and like that's where you get the fae babies and the changelings and all the things. But Litha's vibe is like magic and love spells and mischief and transformation and like being somebody you're not or being who you're truly meant to be. But there's so much of this variation of just mixing up. The potential is everything. You have so much potential. You get to just become whatever you want, whatever the potential is that you seek for that day. That was sort of the idea behind A Midsummer's Night Dream, is like,
I'm embarrassed to say I've never seen it and I've never read it.
Don't read it because it's Shakespeare.
I know it's Shakespeare, right?
But the movie is cute and the costumes are amazing. No, I'm pretty sure it's
she did one of the Shakespeare movies.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, yeah, it's going way back.
No, it's lovely.
Okay, I'm gonna have to find it on Netflix or something.
I love it.
Or Hulu, whatever.
Yeah,
Hulu. I'll watch it.
TV free or whatever, free TV. I don't know. They have all these apps now where you can just watch whatever, but it's with ads. Can't do it. So it did that movie was inspired by a lot of the old pagan themes, but because they did that movie more recently, it was like in the 90s. It started to have this like...
She's like, more recently. The 90s was like 30 years ago.
Well, you got to think like Litha as a...
35 years
I don't even want to call it a religion, but yeah, Wicca is a religion. You know, that was like popular in the 50s. So it wasn't mainstream. Like that movie sort of made Midsummer mainstream where people have now heard about it, at least, you know. And then it has pagan associations.
Life, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a lot of different associations and correspondences you can weave into your celebrations. And there is no right or wrong way to celebrate or honor this time of year. Like, do what you can or do nothing. Acknowledge that it's like, wow, okay, this thing is passing now. You know, we're at that peak and it's passing. Yeah. So no pressure to do a bunch of extra shit because we're already always busy in the summer anyways, right?
But if you wanted to, here's some ideas for activities.
Yes.
Dance around a bonfire.
Yeah.
Naked. Watch the sunrise or sunset naked.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't. That's not
everything's gonna be naked now. I
don't know why. It just feels like such a freeing time, and then you start talking about like
how about
running off into the woods
where you're not wearing bra and underwear and you're less restricted, but maybe not showing your nips to the neighborhood. Just
my backyard's fenced, although there are little holes in it. Let's see. Craft floral crowns.
Yes,
we were just talking about we need to make some new floral crowns.
I know mine's not fitting so well, and I need a new one.
And sun wheels and hand fasting ceremonies or renewal of vows, and harvesting herbs at their peak potency. Yeah.
So there is a lot of things on when to harvest, and normally you don't do it at noon because water has drawn out of the plant, so they're not as crisp. But there are definitely people who pick flowers, right at the noon, at the highest peak. That's the highest of the high of the high of the peak, because the sun is at noon, which is the highest in the sky, and it's the solstice. And it's, if you want to get that detailed and finite in your practice, definitely go for it. Do it. See what it feels like. And if you never do it again, you're like, oh, that's okay. Pick up practices and set them down as you need to.
We do have also some food and drinks that traditionally go with.
I didn't pull out the book, but there's a Litha book. I normally show the Llewellyn's.
Oh, okay.
Sabbath
there is.
Books. Yeah.
Yeah, there are.
There's lots of recipes in that. That's what I was going to tell you. Lots of recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honey cakes, fresh berries, garden vegetables.
Yeah.
Elderflower. I love. I have elderflower or elderberry tea.
Same thing.
Cordial. Mead. You're making mead.
Honey. That's liquor made from honey.
Yeah.
Just honey.
Lemon balm tea.
Yes.
Fruit pies, herbed breads,
like that rosemary bread.
Oh, that is the best. Isn't that a recipe in the Llewellyn's Litha
don't
book?
Remember.
I know I got a recipe for rosemary bread and I made it and it was amazing.
Yes.
Can't make it too much because I'll eat it and then that won't be good. But but it's wonderful to make. If you've never made rosemary bread,
it's not hard.
It's not hard to do.
It's not as hard
and
as
you've got to try it one time because the smell of it and everything about it was just, it was like, it was wonderful.
Yes.
Or the other thing is like sun-dried treats, like dried fruits.
Anything dried out.
Anything dried
Add
out.
to stuff. Like fruit cakes and things that have like the dried fruits mixed into it. I'd rather just eat the fruit by itself. Like
I just am thinking tea party or some kind of little summer party with all of these things as a little celebration, you know. I think we should do that.
I would love to.
I think we should do that.
If we have time.
We haven't, it'll be halfway through the year and we can do a tarot spread for the
to see how the year's been going.
Well, you know, we've gone through a lot of stuff and maybe the cards will have a different story.
We're turning around, right? The wheel is turning. The wheel is always turning. So symbols that you can use, like if you're journaling or if you just want to, you know, sit out, a lot of times I'll go to the beach, I draw in the sand and just play with shells and just kind of like be. It's never, I don't ever put too much intention into it or thought or like planning because I want to enjoy it. And sometimes if I over plan something, I feel exhausted at it. And I'm like, I never really feel the moment for what it is.
I'd rather let it flow too.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's like the symbols, of course, are the sun symbol, which is basically anything with a circle. That's why crowns and circles, and that is all the astrological sign for the sun, right? Fires of any kind, candles, colors that are associated with fire, but also spirals. You know, I had this thing I always did as a kid where I drew spirals out like it was a tree, but they were always in spirals. Mm-hmm. And spirals are also a symbol of the growing fire. Butterflies, oak trees, bees, anything that's alive at this time. I mean, truly, we often think about bouquets of flowers for more springtime, but you can still do summer flowers. Like I actually tried to put on my pure sunflower crown and it is way too big for my head. So I was like, oh, normally I think of Litha, I think of the sunflower because it's a perfect representation of the sun. So anything that you just feel, colors, you know, gold, reds, orange, yellow, and you can add green in there because green is like growth and life and the growing season. I can hear thunder.
Yes.
Oh yes. We've
got some
rain going on.
Crystals that you could use in spells or on an altar or just because, you know, citrine, which is orange, right?
Orangish, gray, clear, tinge.
Sunstone, which I'm not familiar with.
It's like it looks like an orange calcite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amber, which I am familiar with. So amber, that's kind of gold.
Very light, yeah.
And then carnelian.
Yeah. Which that's what I have behind my door. That's the little stone that I have behind my door. Yep. Yeah. So I have my stones in different places around my house to bring in energies. And that's just, I don't really move them. Sometimes I wipe them off or I double check that they're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
they're just little tumbled stones. I know.
You've
got them. Yeah.
Hidden secret, like little Easter eggs all over my house. And then you have flowers and herbs like St. John's wort. Now, do you like to say
Calendula?
Yeah. That's how I think of the big ones. I just say marigold. Like
is that what it is? Marigold?
They're so similar. I've looked for actual deviations. The way they grow, because there's so many variations of the marigold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Calendula is like the official name for it.
Okay.
Maybe. But I say marigold, even though I wrote that on here. Lavender, of course. Mint, chamomiles, yarrow, and rosemary. All of these tend to have like fragrances that go along with making you feel warm or comfort or sort of that joy.
Yeah,
sensual.
Too. I mean, I feel like some of these anyway are just like really, I don't know.
Well, most of them are associated with the masculine element or with fire element. So when you look up in the books, like sometimes they're like planets associated and everything with them. I don't get that in depth, but they can be, you know, take on a masculine character, which is action versus, you know, resting and recovery, or the element of fire. What did I say? Masculine and fire. Yeah. One or the other. So then sun gods, I was going to have you do the first 3 only because the others are hard to pronounce. So I gave you the easy ones.
Okay. Sun gods.
This is so you can look up later if you want to see some of the pools that Gerald Gardner would have got, like the ideas of how to celebrate, what to put into Litha. Mm-hmm. These are some of the cultures.
So is that luge?
Luge? Just Lu.
Lu.
Yeah, Lu. Like Lunasau.
Lugh.
That's
Lu.
where the name Lunasau comes from for the next holiday.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, I should recognize that.
Yeah.
That's Celtic, Ra, Egyptian, and Apollo, Greek. So those are sun gods of the different cultures, mythologies. What are they?
Yeah, cultures, mythologies. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then you're going to do goddesses.
The goddesses, yes. So Ain, which is the Irish goddess.
And that's Aine.
Yeah, I knew you were going to spell it.
You did? Because I wouldn't know how to. If you said Ain, no. I'm like.
But if you were to look up Irish sun goddess, like these things will come up. I want to make it easier for you. I want to make it easy for you guys to explore them, but not just dump all this information on you. So you're like trying to take notes and listen. It's hard. It's distracting.
So look up Irish sun goddess.
The Irish. There's an Irish sun goddess. There's a Japanese sun goddess. Amatsura. Amaturisa. I used to know how to say it well. And then of course, Amatsura. And then the Norse one that we know more commonly, Freya. She would be associated with with that. So I did learn, because every year I do a little more research. I dive a little deeper into things. Litha, because I was like, where the fuck does this name come from? I have to know the etymology of words. I need to know where they come from, what it originated from. Is it made up? If it's made up, fine, let me know. I just want to know. But Litha actually has a connection to not being anything about the sun, which I found very interesting. It is a word that means calm, but specifically it is around the calm seas that happen during June, like in Europe. Really? This is when it is the solstice, because remember that a lot of this is pulled from the European culture. The seas are the calmest during the months of June and July. So Litha meant like the calm sea time. Rather than the brightest, the longest day, sun, anything. It didn't have anything to do with the sun.
Nothing to do with the sun.
What? Blows my mind every time I dive like a little bit deeper in. But Litha was always a celebration of fullness. They knew that they were at a peak harvest time. This was peak of the summer, and everything after this, abundance. This is the first of the harvest holidays, because after this we have Lunasau, then we have Mabon. And so we have the 3 harvest holidays getting ready to start. So this is like the peak of everything. And everything after this, we start declining and knowing like pretty soon we'll have to clear the fields. Like the first crops that are ready to go are done. And then that gets, cleared out, and we're planning and prepping and all of that. So there's this abundance and fullness during this time right now. Yeah. Which brings us to the next part of what's happening in the sky. And I wrote this really thinking about you, because Kat is studying astrology, and I'm always like, what new stuff do you have for me? Tell me new things. I want to know. She's going to get proficient enough, I swear, to do her own podcast.
I am going to. Yeah, I'm going to get good enough that I'm going to create a course.
And read charts and stuff.
Yeah. I can't wait for that. That's the other goal, is to read charts professionally. Yeah. At least later, anyway. In the beginning, it'll just be for fun and for all my family and friends,
which I try to get her to do now. I'm like, tell me.
Well, I can't. Committing everything to memory is really tough, because there's a lot of information. But anyway, always. I do love it, and I'm always sharing with the girls whatever I've heard the latest of, or like auspicious dates, or beware on this date, don't go anywhere, stuff like that. And there's a lot of things going on in the sky right now. But the summer solstice usually coincides with the sun's entrance into Cancer. Yeah. And Cancer is ruled by the moon, so we're feeling the solar blaze and the deep emotional tides beneath it. This year, we also have a new moon happening close to Litha, which is rare and powerful.
Yeah. The new moon marks a beginning, and so like normally you've got Litha, where it's this culmination and it's the fruit. Everything is in bloom and high, and it's manifested, and it's like, boom, everything's out there. But then you have new moon, which is like going inside and planning and setting intentions and being quiet and resting and sitting with yourself. So we have this interesting masculine and feminine balance thing happening right at Litha, which I found interesting and thought we could talk about. Yeah. So since normally Litha is like fiery celebration, but when it's paired with the new moon, it really becomes this beautiful paradox where the sun's at its brightest and yet the moon is at its darkest.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the idea of this balance, or
yin and yang.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like how we're sort of at these different ends, and you could feel one more than the other. You could feel them both simultaneously, like me, and make you feel crazy. Like, do I go into myself? Do I go celebrate and run around? Like, what do you do? Do whatever you feel at that moment, you know? I think the sun being at the brightest and the moon being at its darkest, it makes, I wrote like these 4 things where there's sort of this interesting alignment. I don't know what to call this exactly, but these opposites coming together to be, I don't know. I wrote it. We'll just read it because I don't know how to explain it exactly. So planting seeds of joy, right? So you have the planting part, which is the new moon part, but then what you're thinking about and what you're planting for is something that's like in its high, bright, outside of yourself, the joy, you know, plans, goals, achieving something. Mm-hmm. So planting and achieving at the same time.
Radiant visibility and hidden potential.
Yeah. So they're like, it's a spectrum sort of, right?
Right. So, with the moon and the sun, the sun is the radiant visibility. The moon is the hidden potential.
So when I thought about that, is like, is this a good time? Not is it, but these are things I ponder. You've got the sun being at its highest energy and the moon going like, no, come draw yourself in and like think about all of this potential. The sun could be shining light on your hidden potentials. Like if you journal about something or if you pull cards for something, like what should I see right now? Because you've got all this bright, fiery energy and the moon going dark. It's like, what needs to be uncovered right at this moment? What are the layers I need to peel back while everything is like lit up, you know, in a blaze? Yeah. With the sun representing masculine energy, which is action and clarity and growth, and it's at its height, and the new moon being deeply feminine and inward, it invites rest and reflection and intention setting. Together, they create an alchemical balance. The outer and inner worlds are aligning in harmony. And that's why I think that you like try to look at it from both, like see yourself in both places. And I'm doing my hands like, you know, one is way up high and one is low. Like I'm pulling a string tight so you can see how you connect to the heavens and to the earth.
It's like lighting a candle in a pitch black room. The perfect time to ask, what do I want to see more clearly? What am I ready to grow from in this dark soil of potential?
Dark soil of potential. Yeah. It reminds me of this card from Kim Kranz. It's the void. And she talks about how the void is this, it's nothingness, right?
Yeah.
But in nothingness, everything is possible.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so
yes,
there's this unlimited amount of potential and possibility, even though right now there's nothing. And that's where I feel like we have these, you know, this alchemical, what did I call it? Alchemical balance of masculine, feminine, shining bright and being deep, dark in the soil. I just think it's very interesting.
You know, so this is a sacred time to honor cycles, powerful transformations, and the feminine wisdom that holds space for both light and shadow. So, are you ready to make magic real? Let's talk about some practical ways to honor this potent time of year.
Yeah. So now we just get into how to practice.
How are we going to celebrate?
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
In a modern, you know, in a modern magic.
Yeah.
So a modern world.
And with not too much pressure.
Not too much pressure. Don't have to buy anything.
Yeah. No, we got about that.
We have enough. It should be joyous and freeing, you know.
Yeah, it should feel good.
It should feel good and not like a burden. So don't do anything that makes it feel like drudgery. If it's not meant for this.
Yeah.
It should be light and easy.
Except if you're doing reflective questioning, then
that's true. That's always like, where are you?
Never going to be easy.
Spectrum, right?
Yeah. I know the first thing for me is like either rise with the sun or stay through sunset. I try to do one or the other, or I do both if I'm really on my shit. So I like to get up and watch the sunrise anyways. The colors, it's beautiful. Like the birds start coming in. Like I've got this perfect little garden seating, and I love going out just before sunrise or as the sun is rising. So you can do a ritual for this where on Litha, you know, experience these moments that feel really powerful. You're at the precipice where now the year is at its middle and you're going to start, you know, that it's waning, right? The light is waning, the days, we're just going into that darker half of the year. Speak your intentions out loud to the sky. Like, what do you want for the rest of this year? You know, you can empower yourself for that day and say, I'm going forward with this power. I'm going to take the light and like move it forward with me. Or you can even say, today, I'm finally letting go of this and I'm going to move into this half of the year, like not carrying this weight with me. And you can give little, like, I pick things from around my yard, whether they've fallen off or I just like, you know, pick a flower and then I leave it out there all day and I really don't return to it. I put it in a place where the garden can reclaim it and just like a little offering, nothing big, you know, maybe you throw seed down for birds and just like whatever you want to give as a little offering to just kind of say, I was here. I had this moment with the earth. I had a moment with myself, you know, and there it is. Small little sunrise or sunset ritual for you to do.
So altars are always another way that we can celebrate any of the holidays or other things that we do. So this might be good for a solar altar with like yellow and gold cloths or citrine and sunflowers, candles, or anything that feels radiant to you. Mm-hmm. You can add items that represent what you're growing into. What you're growing in your life, journal about your goals or, a symbol of your relationship or a photo. These are the things that can be that you can place on your solar altar. Your altar can be outside if you have a space for it, out in your garden, or it can be in your house. It can be in your bedroom, wherever you feel like, wherever you want it to be. There's no place that it needs to be, but I like the idea of an outside altar. If you can do that, if you have a space for it, those are pretty cool when you've got
a little space for it.
Yeah, and you got a little space for it. If you can get a tree stump, like makes with a flat, it makes a really good space for altars. But you can also like kind of hide them tucked in to your garden somewhere.
Yeah.
I hope you're gardening. I'm really getting into gardening and just loving my yard. So I hope you're gardening, and if you're not,
whether that's indoor or outdoor plants, taking care of a yard is a lot. It is definitely like a whole relationship.
It's it's hobby and it's expensive, but it's also
rewarding.
It is rewarding.
It's therapy, and I've been wondering, is it more expensive than therapy or cheaper than therapy? Because I think they run about the same.
That probably, on what you pay. Probably.
We do a lot with plants and just it's way more time than therapy. That's 100% for sure. But as far as cost, I don't know. Once you start propagating and when you find plant friends and you share everything.
Find plant friends.
Find plant friends.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Or do what I do and like walk by your neighbor's house and find a bush that you like and then take a clipping off it and take it home and get it started. I started I got 2 big fire bushes in my goddess garden.
I can't believe that they grew from those clippings.
They grew from clippings that I took when Jayme and I were walking one day, and there was all these butterflies all over this. It's a fire bush. Is that what it's called?
Fire honeysuckle. Well, it's a honeysuckle.
Okay, so it's a honeysuckle. And there were all these butterflies, and I was like, oh my God, I want that in my yard. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago.
At least 2.
I went back and because I was like, I want one, and like, I don't know if the people are home, but I went back and I had scissors with me, clippers, and I took a couple cuttings from it and I came home and got them started. And I can't believe they were just like one little twig. And now they're 4 feet tall bushes blooming. So yeah.
Propagation is way cheaper than buying plants.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Like learn to make cuttings and experiment with them. I'm finally at the point where I'm like, whatever, if it works, if it grows, awesome. If it doesn't grow and it dies, I'll just plant something else there.
I'll just try again.
Yeah, I'll just try something else. Yeah. That's a really good way to look at it, because in the beginning I was like, oh my God, it died again. Like I can't keep basil alive for some reason.
It likes a lot of water. Like in most people.
And then I drowned it. So it was like, one of them, I had 3 and
I know, I keep giving her basils and she's like, I killed them all again.
I don't know what the hell the deal is.
Like, oh Lord.
I finally got rosemary growing though.
That's good. That took you a while.
That took me a while to get rosemary growing. Yeah. Okay. So Jayme, you're going to talk about what?
I love burning rituals.
Rituals.
And I do these throughout the year, but honestly, burning rituals are probably one of my favorite.
I think they're mine too. I absolutely love to burn.
And we're water signs, but I don't know, man, burning stuff just feels right to me.
It does. It feels like such a transformation.
It does.
A release.
Release. Yeah. It feels like it's like, okay, that thing is burnt up and no longer exists. That's
right. That's right.
So for burning rituals, listen, you guys, I will use scrap paper. I will use anything. It does not matter what I actually write my stuff on. I don't use pretty paper. I just get whatever. One year, I had made all these. Remember the snowflakes that I made that were decorations and all
from the paper bags? From the paper, pretty paper, little small colorful paper bags, colored paper bags, and she made all these snowflakes,
like paper snowflakes, like the old days. I was making, I don't want to buy any more fucking decorations. I want to make them myself.
Yeah, it's way more fun.
Lots of hand cramps with that.
But also you get more what you want. Exactly.
You do, yeah.
And there's some pride in, making it yourself and being like, look at that. Look what I did.
I love being like, I made that. Look at that. I did that. So with a burning ritual that we did probably 2 years ago now, I just took all these little scrap pieces of paper and balled them up in my hand and I threw them into the fire and I just said the words. So I didn't write it down, but a lot of times, you write down what you want to release, or you can just grab something that's like symbolic to throw in the fire, like I did with all those little scrap papers. But what you say, whether it's written down or, out loud or in your mind, is what really is the compelling thing, the thing that can help transformation. Write down what you want to release, say what you want to release, whether it's like self-doubt, comparison, guilt. For me, I know I've admitted this to you. Well, I've admitted this over the last 4 years. Being online is really hard for me. And I want to get over whatever the fucking fear is about putting myself online as a witch. Like I can do this and I can't believe you say
that when we have so many videos.
It's crazy
on YouTube.
181 actually.
All of our meetups that we did.
We recorded
all. I mean, oh my gosh,
it's ridiculous that I still
probably have
150
videos.
I know, and I still cannot. It's so hard for me to post on Instagram. I find it absolutely petrifying.
Though.
Why? It's video online. It is literally not different.
I don't know. I think it's hard not to feel concerned about being judged because Instagram, Instagram.
Okay, so a 30-second clip of me doing something versus an hour-long video where I have way more opportunities to fuck up and look crazy. How? Justify this to me. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm just giving you guys a small example of my own little isms. Things that I want to let go of. So you basically just write things down and you burn them in whatever capacity that you feel like, whatever works for you, safely, of course. Always got to add in the little, do it safely, have water safely. Near you. I don't know. But yeah, you just throw it in. And then it's like when you're watching it burn, I think that's when you're really saying let it go, let it go, let it go. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me. I don't need this. It's not real. These feelings, whatever, it's just shit in my head, let it go. And have gratitude for being able to have that moment for yourself where you're admitting that there's something that you would like to transform and change and that you are actively trying, because that takes work. Not everybody does that. They just kind of whatever, I'll brush that off. It's other people's problems. I'm fine. And imagine that the energy is reuniting, somewhere else. That's what I think of. I'm like, yeah, you can go to something that somebody else needs this lesson. I'm just going to let you go. All that, the ash and the energy
doesn't ever die. It just turns into something else.
Just transforms. Yeah. Yeah. So you can also imagine it transforming into fuel for something else that you want. I'd like to take all of my fear around being seen and turn that into, I don't have the words because I haven't thought about it hard enough, but I'll get back to you on that. On Instagram.
That confidence to
turn it into confidence.
Yeah. Or
worthiness. I'm thinking of the word give a fuck.
You're give a fucks. Yeah. I mean, I think at some point you just have to get to the point where you're like, I just can't worry about whatever it is I'm worried, whatever my,
what is the worry? Maybe I need to even name the worry. I don't know what it is exactly.
Is it or the fear, whatever the fear is, maybe it's releasing fear, but
don't know. So crazy.
Sometimes
maybe it's because I'm by myself.
Sometimes you just have to do it and then go oh, that wasn't so bad.
I always tell myself you gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's it. But if
I had to make videos, we were making videos, but together, usually we would do them together.
Well, that's Instagram what I wonder. Is it that I'm alone?
Yeah, we did that.
I can't do it without you. You got to be with me.
I know. I feel like I need a sidekick.
This is my confidence user.
You feel like strength. There's strength in numbers.
Yeah.
My emotional support human.
This is my emotional support witch friend that I have to have with me at all times.
Okay, so something that I love to do, and I have to tell you what, make moon water or Litha water. Litha water.
So sun water, moon
so
water.
you know, we always talk about making moon water and the full moon of this moon or that moon, and I've made blue moon water and saved it for years and all this kind of stuff. But you can also put water out in the sun to make sun water. So set out a jar or solar water rather. So set out a jar of water to charge with solar and lunar energy. And add herb like marigold.
Does it say?
It doesn't say marigold. Small crystal,
make
like a
sun
sunstone.
tea. I mean, truly, that's what I should have just making sun tea. It's the same thing as putting herbs in it, and you can drink it. And like,
when's
the last time you made sun tea? Like,
I haven't made sun tea in years, but I used to make it a lot.
Mine was about 4 years ago.
And then you can, use the water for anointing your third eye, watering your plants, or adding to your bath, or washing your face, or making your tea, or whatever you
offerings on your altar.
Offerings on your altar. If you're doing like all your elements, you got to have a little bottle of water. But I think the funnest thing for me now that we had this little craft that we did was we decorated our bottles with
dried flowers
and Mod Podge dried flowers onto our bottles that we use for moon water. I did mine. I don't know. Is that what you did with the moon water? Mm-hmm. It was a wine bottle, and it was the funnest thing ever. So if you've never done that, Mod Podge and dried flowers and a bottle, like a wine bottle or something, and you can make yourself a beautiful, like, unique moon water or sun water bottle.
Yeah,
fun craft.
They're super beautiful. So the last one is about moving your body. It's like, do it with music, do it with other people, or do it by yourself. But moving our body, this is because it's the masculine energy, of the sun. This is action and movement and like blood flowing. So our blood is even connected to sort of that action, movement, fire. You want to get your body moving just in any way that you can, and dancing around a fire, but really dancing to drums, something that really tunes you into just feeling alive, where it's not about the thinking, it's more about the action part of it. It just let yourself feel alive. Have we ever we've done like dancing around my pool and like jumping in the pool and being really fun there, but never with the fire. I guess because it's probably always hot. And we're like, I'm going to just sit and enjoy the fire. I'm not going to get hotter by dancing around it. Not in Florida. No.
Yeah.
I would probably do that in the wintertime, though.
I would definitely do it in the wintertime.
Yeah. I mean, I had to do that when we were, last year, Scotland, Beltane. It was cold, and to be moving while the fire was going, you kind of needed to so that you could stay warm. Yeah, I can see that. So maybe you live somewhere where if you have a fire and you can dance around it and it's not 1,000 degrees outside, it might suit you. So do that. But any kind of moving, dancing, drums. Usually when people hear drums, they sort of get in the rhythm of wanting to move with it. That's why I say play music or, have.
Well, it made me think of drum circle.
Drum circles.
We have drum circle here on the beach every, Wednesday and Saturday or something.
Wednesday and Saturday. Yeah.
Now, don't forget to align your new moon intention setting with the fire of Litha. What are you ready to invite into full bloom? What new version of yourself is ready to rise?
Yeah. This is the rare alignment of dark moon and bright sun, a perfect container for planting bold and beautiful intentions. And again, if you're on this date, except acknowledge the passing of the day, that's fine. But if you get yourself into this idea that, wow, there's really this, we're at a peak of sun and we're at the new moon phase, it's like, ponder what that means to you. Because I wrote about this, but I still think about it like, wow, that's just so interesting when the days collide where you have two opposites on the same day, where the spectrum is so split.
Is it like that every year?
No.
Okay, so this year is unique.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like,
that feels like a special opportunity to really do something, to feel your witchy self, to get your witchy groove on, whatever that looks like to you.
Last year was the full moon. Yeah, because I really, really wanted to go on a trip. So I chose to get married on Litha, and of course, because it's Litha, that's what you do. But last year was my 5-year anniversary, and it was a full moon on that day. And I was just like, oh my God, like it's too perfect. I want to go do this trip. I want to go somewhere really big. And yeah, I know it's harder for us to travel during the summer because we always have like guests over and things going on, but it will not come around again for another 8 years. And I'm like, all right, in 8 years, when it is Litha and it is full moon again, I am going somewhere. Like I'm going to Stonehenge and I'm seeing it there, you know, the full moon.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yes. So I think that we kept this short for you guys. Again, small celebrations, just acknowledge the passing of time. Do what you can. If you want to journal, set some intentions.
Burn some shit
down, transform yourself, make plans for the rest of the year. Just know that now after this, we are headed into the darker half of the year.
Yeah, we're headed to the darker half of the year.
We're headed towards that.
Whether you're sipping sun tea, lighting a bonfire, or drumming under the moon, know that Litha is your reminder that you are the light you've been waiting for.
We hope that this solstice brings you passion, pleasure, and powerful transformations.
Until next time, witches, shine bright, burn bold, and let your magic rise like the sun.
Rise like the sun.
We love you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye, witches.